AGT winner Richard Goodall shocks the world with Neal Schon from Journey. Finale 2025. The world first met Richard Goodall in the summer of 2023, a humble school janitor from Terre Haute, Indiana, whose voice carried the raw emotion of someone who had lived 1,000 untold stories. He was the man who sang, "Don't Stop Believin" on America's Got Talent, not for fame, but because he believed music was the one language that could heal broken hearts. When he won AGT, the headlines called him the janitor with a dream, but Richard never let the title change him. He returned home, still sweeping the same hallways, still greeting children with a smile, still believing that kindness mattered more than applause. By the time the 2025 finale came around, Richard had been invited back to perform as a guest winner. For weeks, whispers swirled about what he might do. Some thought he would sing another Journey classic, others believed he would debut a new song. But Richard, quiet as always, simply told producers, "I want to remind people why we believe in each other." When the stage lights dimmed on finale night, the crowd erupted in cheers as Richard stepped out in his simple black jacket, holding the microphone like an old friend. He looked out across the audience, not just the celebrities and judges, but the kids in the balconies, the families in the back rows, the dreamers who had traveled from every corner of the country. Then, in that unassuming voice that had once stunned Simon Cowell, he said, "This isn't just my story. It's ours. And tonight, I want to share the stage with someone who inspired me long before the world knew my name." Suddenly, the familiar opening chords of Don't Stop Believin' filled the arena, but they weren't coming from the band. A spotlight swung to the side of the stage, and there he was, Neal Schon, Journey's legendary guitarist, his silver hair glowing under the lights, his fingers already dancing over the strings. The audience gasped, then roared so loudly the cameras shook. Richard clasped his hands together, visibly trembling, then whispered, "Thank you." As Neal played, Richard began to sing. His voice, aged not by years but by the weight of life, cut through the noise. Each note carried the same sincerity that had made millions fall in love with him, proof that greatness is not found in perfection, but in truth. But what no one expected was what came next. Halfway through the song, Richard stepped aside, lowering his mic. He motioned to the children's choir waiting quietly in the wings, kids from his hometown school, the very halls he once swept. Dressed in simple blue robes, they walked forward, eyes wide with wonder, their voices joining Richard's as he sang the chorus. The arena fell silent except for the music. Even the judges leaned in, blinking back tears. It wasn't just a performance anymore, it was a moment of unity. A janitor, a rock legend, and a group of children who had never set foot on a stage before were. The emotional climax came when the final chorus soared. Neal's guitar wailed like a prayer, Richard's voice broke with passion, and the children's harmonies lifted the song into something transcendent. The crowd rose to their feet, holding hands, some swaying, some crying. It wasn't just music, it was humanity, shared and alive. When the last note faded, the cameras captured Richard wiping his eyes. He turned to Neal, who pulled him into a hug, whispering into the microphone, "You reminded us all what this song means." Richard simply nodded, then turned to the audience and said, "I was a janitor. I thought I was invisible. But kindness, music, and believing in each other, that's what makes us shine. Never stop believing, not in your dreams, but in each other." The ovation lasted minutes. Around the world, millions who watched from living rooms, hospital beds, and small-town diners felt the same unshakable truth: hope is not a luxury, it is a choice we give one another. That night, news outlets rushed to capture the story, headlines flashing across the globe, "Janitor turned AGT winner brings world to tears with Journey legend Neal Schon." But what lingered wasn't the headlines, it was the memory of a man who carried no ego, who had once mopped floors and now stood on the biggest stage, reminding everyone that the greatest victories are not about spotlight or fame, but about lifting others higher. In the days after, videos of the performance flooded social media. Parents played it for their children. Teachers showed it in classrooms. Veterans in hospitals replayed the clip as if it were medicine. And in a small school in Indiana, kids ran down the hall shouting, "Mr. Goodall, you were amazing." And he just smiled, broom in hand, because he knew the truth: the music was never about him. It was about all of them. The world would move on to other stories, other headlines, but for those who saw it, the 2025 finale would be remembered not as just another television moment, but as a reminder of something much deeper, that no matter where you start, no matter how small you feel, your voice, your kindness, and your courage can change the world. And in that truth, Richard Goodall's legacy was written, not in the lights of Hollywood, but in the hearts of people everywhere. Never stop believing.